You ever wonder why these brilliant discoveries made in labs seem to take forever to actually show up in our daily lives? Well, it turns out there's this huge gap between what we know and what we do. So, let's get into it, because a massive change is happening right now.
Okay, look at this number. Just let it sit there for a second. 30 to 45%. I mean, what on earth could that possibly represent?
Yeah, that's it. It's the shocking percentage of patients who aren't getting care based on the very latest science. It's crazy, right? You've got labs overflowing with solutions on one side, and on the other, communities that are desperately looking for those answers. So the real question becomes, how do we finally fix this?
And that is the question, isn't it? For decades, we've been relying on a model that, let's be honest, just isn't cutting it anymore. But what if? What if there's a fundamentally better way to do this? Think about the old way. It was this classic pyramid. You had researchers way up at the top, and we all just kind of hoped their findings would eventually trickle down. Yeah, trickle is the right word. But this new approach, it flips the whole thing on its head. It's not a pyramid anymore. It's a network. And it puts power, tools, and information directly into the hands of communities. And listen, this is way more than just a small tweak. We're talking about a completely new philosophy, a new recipe for change. We stop waiting for solutions to come from on high, and instead, we empower everyone to take action for themselves. This quote just nails the shift in thinking. The goal isn't to spend a decade trying to get a law passed. Nope. The goal is to inspire millions of people to change something, even a small thing in their own lives, tomorrow. It's about starting a dialogue, not just delivering a monologue.
Now, for any of this to work, knowledge has to become translational. So what does that mean? It basically means a discovery can't stay locked in its own little box. It has to be able to travel. A breakthrough in neuroscience, for example, could suddenly spark an idea for a teacher, a video game developer, or even a manager. Knowledge becomes a living thing.
I absolutely love this metaphor. The old model was like being shown a perfectly finished pie. Someone puts it in front of you and says, "This is what's good for you." Kind of intimidating. But the new model? It just gives you the recipe. Here are the ingredients. Here are the instructions. Now you can make it, you can adapt it, you can share your own version. You get to be the chef. So you see, knowledge is no longer a finished product that we just consume. Instead, it becomes a living tool, a collaborative project. It's a solution you can customize, and ultimately, it becomes an engine for real autonomy.
Of course, a revolution like this doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's being made possible by an incredible new set of technologies. It's like we've all been given access to this amazing digital kitchen to start cooking in. And there's a real strategy here. You can think of it like an engagement funnel. First, you attract attention with short viral content. Then, you educate with deeper formats. And that last step, engage, is the most important one. You build communities where people can connect, act, and realize that they're not alone in facing whatever challenge they have. Because, let's be real, we've all been on those video calls staring at a grid of faces, feeling totally disconnected. The real challenge is recreating that feeling of being together. Immersive spaces let us do that. We can move around, form small groups, and have those spontaneous water cooler chats that build real connections. And then you add AI into the mix, which is basically a superpower for collaboration. Real-time translation boosts inclusion. Automated summaries drive efficiency. And generating 3D models on the fly, that just sparks creativity. This is where the virtual can actually surpass the physical. But here's where it gets really, really powerful. This isn't just a one-way street where science gives knowledge to the public. It's a two-way exchange. It's a truly symbiotic relationship. This idea is just incredible. Every community transforms into an open-air innovation lab. When people adapt these tools and recipes, they aren't just solving their problems. They're inventing and creating thousands of micro-innovations. And for researchers, that's a goldmine. We get to move beyond sterile lab data. All of a sudden, scientists have access to pure, authentic data that comes directly from real-world practice. So research isn't just driven by a scientist's assumptions anymore, but by what's actually happening on the ground. This creates this amazing self-fueling engine for progress. Communities innovate, researchers gather that authentic data, science improves because of those real-world insights, and in turn, it provides even better tools back to the communities. It's a loop that just keeps accelerating. So all of this,
It isn't science fiction. It's a movement that's already happening, it's growing, and it's building a new future. And this last part is really an invitation for you.
What we're all witnessing is a fundamental update. You could call it knowledge mobilization 2.0, and it's an open invitation to join this whole new way of working. In this new ecosystem, the old roles just disappear. You're not one or the other anymore. You get to be both, a student and a teacher, a user and a creator, a consumer and a contributor. This movement is already here. It's happening. So the question we have to ask ourselves isn't if it's happening, but what role do we want to play in it? What will our contribution be? The power to act, to create, and to share is here. It's in our hands. So I guess the only question left is, what's the first recipe you want to make your own?